Hi, everybody. Welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up. Ah!
That's how we sound sometimes when we talk. My name is Josh Allen, a.k.a. Lord. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Mike Fony. I haven't said that in a long time.
You haven't. How does it feel?
Kind of gross. Kind of reminded me a little bit of you know who. So I feel a little bit dirty right now. I need to wash my sins away with this delicious beer.
Terrible. What are you drinking right now?
Oh, I have to tell you about it. It's amazing. So, my new favorite brewery, which pains me because my favorite brewery has always been Bell's, because it's from Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is near where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And they make this amazing IPA called Two Hearted. It's really, really good. You should check it out. But this is my new favorite brewery. It's called Anderson Valley. They're from Boonville, California.
Okay.
Not
from Anderson Valley.
What's that?
No, never.
They're not from Anderson Valley. No,
Okay.
They're from Boonville. Apparently. This is a briny melon gose. I think it's pronounced gose, Gose. Maybe gose, but I think it's gose.
Okay.
It's a watermelon ale. It's a sour. And it's so good. It's so good. I've been really getting into the sours lately. And this one is possibly my favorite of the sours I've had so far. And I've had sours from The Brewery, which is called The Brewery.
The brewery.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking Diet Hanson's Diet Tangerine Lime Soda.
Diet Hanson's Diet. It's double diet.
It's double diet, yeah, which means it actually
means it's even
takes
more
away
effective.
Calories that you've taken in. Yeah, so I could like have 2 of these and a pizza, and it actually kind of evens itself out.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the gym yesterday, so that means I get to drink all I want. That's how it works. I didn't do anything in the gym. I just wandered around, but still.
Wait, it's you're meeting your step goal.
Yes,
it's important. Yeah.
Yeah,
10,000 steps. 10,000 steps.
I actually I did this like severe workout on the not severe, like this fat burn sort of workout because I'm trying to lose some weight, because I'm getting a little bit chubby around the everywhere, and I did this like fat burn workout on the treadmill where it like slowly, it doesn't increase the speed at all, but it like slowly increases like the inclination on it.
The elevation, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like eventually you're just walking up a hill like fucking Ziziphus for an hour.
Yeah.
And like by the time I was done, it was like, oh god, I'm so dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not losing weight is so I'm like 20 pounds down and like holding, of course, because my mother-in-law's here, so it's like bacon every meal. So I'm doing my best to maintain. But it's not about like losing weight for the sake of getting healthier. It's about, for me anyway, it's like losing weight so that I don't have to go buy more fucking clothes. It's like I have all these clothes that fit me perfectly when I was 200 pounds. And then I was like, well, 227, nothing fits. All the buttons are like stretching, like in between the buttons, it's all like, let me out, That's what it's about. It's about saving money on clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have 2 pairs of shorts that don't fit me right now, and so I'm very much in the same like, I don't want to buy more shorts. Like summer's coming up, and I'm gonna need those.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Orange County. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had food poisoning like a week and a half ago. We forgot to talk about this. I was going to talk about this on the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
And
my only contribution was the Beavis and Butthead movie scene. I totally forgot. I was like, you did? I was like, I thought he would tell me. And then it's like, what have I said to Laura? Oh, Beavis and Butthead. Oh, pooped too much. Oh, he was sick. That's right.
Yeah.
So what'd you eat?
So actually what happened was I had this like growler of beer from, I think this is what happened, is I had this growler of beer from the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
And I had opened it and then like closed it again, and I didn't realize that once you open a growler, you're supposed to drink the whole thing in the span of like 3 days tops. And so it was in there for like 3 weeks, and I opened it up and I was like, still seems all right, and I drank like a pint of it, and then like the next day I was like, oh god, I'm so sick, and Liv went and opened it up and was like, wait, you drank this? Because it was like fucking rancid. It was so bad. So yeah, I got really, really sick and like ended up with like some some weird butt stuff going on for a while. I guess is probably a good way to put it.
Some weird butt stuff.
Some weird butt stuff. Yeah, there was it was not good. But the reason I bring the whole thing up is that speaking of being sick, by which I mean speaking of things leaving your body, by which I mean speaking of leakage, there was a whole bunch of details on Fallout 4's new survival mode that leaked.
That was a top 3, I think. I think, yeah.
The only reason I even brought up food poisoning was because I wanted to do that.
God.
This might be the worst podcast ever, but goddamn if I don't find it entertaining. But anyway, yeah, so like a few weeks ago, we talked about the updates to Fallout 4 survival mode, because they kind of teased it on Twitter. They were like, we're going to do some stuff with... This is what Bethesda sounds like. We're going to do some stuff with survival mode.
Zug zug. Zug zug. Me not that kind of game developer.
They totally are that kind of game developer. But, wow, that really hurt my throat. Hang on. That's difficult for me. But anyway, yeah, so a whole bunch of details on it leaked. And I don't know exactly where the leak originally came from, but they've actually been confirmed by Bethesda. They actually came in and said, yeah, this is an early glimpse at what we're looking at. Things are still going to change. We're still messing with it, which is cool. So this is, in a lot of ways, this is like the early data mining that people see from like games like WoW, where, yeah, you might see like a snapshot of where things were at one point in development, where things were halfway completed, and like, wow, apparently I'm just exploding right now.
Yeah.
Like things were halfway completed and stuff's going to change and so on and so forth, yada yada yada. But this leak is substantial. There is actually a lot of info in here, and it's making me really excited. So I kind of want to just read through this list. And like, there's so many different points here. We're gonna have
a
to
lot
make
of stuff
sure
that
not
you
to
and
talk about
I
it forever,
just kind of
yeah.
were like, that'd be cool if.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here it is. And then it's like, well, now that we're seeing it all, it's like, oh God, oh Jesus.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh God. So to begin the audible Fallout porn, saving. Manual and quick saving are disabled. To save your game, you'll need to find a bed and sleep for at least an hour. And that's actually fairly difficult at a lot of points in the game. Like, you can't be like, okay, I'm about to bust into this room and shoot a whole bunch of people. Like, you actually have to be at like a safe place and save your game and sleep for at least an hour. Not get attacked in that hour. Like, you need to at least stay asleep for like an hour. And I actually really, really like this because if we're talking about survival mode, like, so much of what you can do in the current game in survival mode, like I was watching Shizzle play it a bunch, and it was literally like, well, this looks dangerous, so I will save real quick. And that's like, that's the right way to play it, the way that the game is built. Like, that's the intelligent thing to do.
Yeah.
But it does kind of undercut a whole lot of the quote unquote survival aspect of it, if it doesn't actually matter if you survive or not.
Yeah, survival right now is essentially a joke. It's just hard mode. Everything is just harder. That's all. But not like this is all new mechanics.
Yeah. So that I'm on board with.
Now wait, real quick. What's the in-game time relative to real time? Like,
so the sleep for you just. I'm assuming it's just that you walk up to the bed, you.
Oh, that's right.
Target it. You do sleep, and then you say sleep for an hour, and it will save when you do that.
I forgot all about that.
So yeah, like actually, the actual amount of time doesn't really matter.
I think I forgot about that because I never had to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no reason to sleep in the base Fallout 4 game, like, at all ever. So yeah, just like sleeping for an hour. It's not a big deal. It's just a matter of getting to a bed is the the difficult part.
Yeah.
Says combat is more lethal for everyone. You now deal, but also take more damage. You can increase the damage you deal even further with adrenaline, which it says see below. So I'm going to try and find...
Yeah, just a couple down.
There it is, yeah. Survival automatically grants the adrenaline perk, which provides a bonus to your damage output. Unlike other perks, the only way to increase your rank of the adrenaline perk is by getting kills, hostile or otherwise. The higher your adrenaline rank, the higher the damage bonus. Sleeping for more than an hour, however, will cause your adrenaline rank to lower. You can check your current adrenaline rank at any time, blah, 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 blah. So you have this sort of like stacking buff on yourself that increases your damage the more you kill. But once you sleep, which you have to sleep in order to save, and there's even a bit where it talks about like you have to sleep to get rid of fatigue. So you will be having to sleep from time to time. It's not just a matter of, oh, I need to sleep to save, and then that's it. No, you actually need to sleep because like they're trying to replicate a lot of the actual human body in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like the wellness section is talking about you have to stay hydrated, fed, and rested to remain combat ready. Going for extended periods of time without food, water, or sleep will begin to adversely affect your health, hurting your special stats, adding to your fatigue, lowering your immunity, and eventually even dealing physical damage to you. So you do actually have to sleep. So that's really cool where you have this sort of like, how much killing have I done while I've been awake this time?
Yeah.
And then I have to go sleep to catch back up, and you're kind of trying to balance it. So that's
and then at
cool.
the same time in between, you're gonna have to stay hydrated and everything. Like everything is all wrapped up into this.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing it's missing is like pooping, really, and pissing.
Yeah, like fatigue works like radiation, but affects your action points rather than your hit points. The more fatigue you built up, the less AP you have for other actions. Sickness, you have like an immune system, and it says a comprised, I think it means compromised immune system, and a few questionable decisions can end up getting you killed. So like eating uncooked meat, drinking unpurified water, taking damage from things like ghouls and bugs, using harmful chems. You can actually get sick, and you'll get these different illnesses that affect your character in different ways. So that's very very, very survival game-esque.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, I have a cold, so now maybe it makes your vision a little bit blurry, or it makes it harder for you to aim, or you randomly sneeze from time to time. Like, there's all sorts of things that can happen with that. And of course, you can make antibiotics to heal that, but it's something that you have to make and be looking for.
Or like bio, yeah. And then, so bed types. So I just read through this. The type of bed you're sleeping determines the length of the time that you're able to stay asleep. And it says a sleeping bag will save your game and may help save your life when you're desperate, but it will never allow for a full night's rest and the benefits that come with it. So it's like going back to the you have to sleep thing. Like, not only you have to find a bed, you have to find a good bed.
Yeah. Or at the very least, when you do find a good bed, you need to make use of it.
Yeah, exactly. Stay asleep. Crippled limbs no longer healing. You have to use stim pack.
Yeah.
Carry weight actually affecting your overall. Periodically damages your legs and health when you carry too much weight.
Yeah, it's really. I got to a point where I was in previously I was in my power armor 100% of the time, so I was just carrying around like a shit ton of. I had like the add-ons to my power armor that increase your carry weight and everything, and I never left it. And so I would get out every once in a while, and I would just it was only when I needed to use a terminal that I couldn't use from inside my power armor for some reason, or if I wanted to do some crafting on my gun, and I would get out of my power armor, and it would take me 5 minutes to walk from the power armor thing over to the workbench for the weapons and stuff. And I was like, oh well, whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's just time, right? I just walk over there, it's no problem. But this sort of thing is this will actually hurt you. You might actually die if you try to carry an entire workbench's worth of crafting material.
Crap, just because you don't feel like putting anything down. I'll just junk it all when I get back. No. And then what pairs well with that is the fact that there's no fast travel. It's actually one of the things that you and I talked about. That'd be great if we're like, that'd be great if they had no fast travel, because that was allowing you to kind of just instantly escape dangerous zones and suddenly you're safe. And no fast travel. So now what happened is the world just got fucking massive.
Yeah, like there's so much in the game. Like every once in a while, I would decide, yeah, I could fast travel to this spot, but I think I'm gonna walk because I haven't walked across this particular path before.
Yeah,
And I would
exactly.
come across so many different things that I'd be like, oh wow, there's this guy over here that I can talk to, or there's this little hut full of ghouls that I can clear out and get some loot or whatever. And like, there's so much in the world that you don't see because you're fast traveling everywhere, and I'm actually really excited to not be able to because with the fast travel there, like sure I'll do it every once in a while, but I most of the time I'm like, okay, actually it's just a huge waste of my time if I don't use this. Don't use this option. But it's weird when the option isn't there. I kind of feel like, well, that's just how this game is played now.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not wasting my time. I'm getting to my objective. If that makes sense. Like just that little difference of perspective is a pretty big deal, I think.
The last one there, enemy and loot repopulation. That's a pretty big deal. The fact that it's gonna repopulate slowly.
Yeah.
I'm curious how slow, because I almost feel like if I clear something out, it should take a long time for them to, respawn.
Yeah.
Because given how long it takes for me to move out somewhere, for them to train some new people and put them in, I feel like if it should take probably like, I don't know, like several days, if not like a week of in-game time, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, and that also means that you can't like farm places for stuff. Like, oh, I'm going to go back in here and kill off all these ghouls that I know are in there and really easy to kill for the caps or whatever that they have. So that'll be pretty cool.
So the first thing that I see coming from this is the don't starve together effect, I'll call it. When everybody's really excited to play something with a whole bunch of their friends, right? And they all get on the multiplayer server and everything is fine. And then they all realize how fucking hard this game actually is. And then it's just like, well, shit. And then they don't play it anymore, ever again. And that's something that Don't Starve does. It's a super fun game, but you have to really pay attention all the time to everything. And that's exactly what they're doing. Like they're making it so when you get in, you have to manage everything. And I feel like it's gonna be a mode that everyone's gonna jump in. They're all gonna try it, and then it's gonna drop down to like this tiny percentage of people that actually play it. However, everybody will get a taste of it, so everybody will always remember how hard survival mode in Fallout 4 was, and they'll always be able to talk about it and speak intelligently to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. If nothing else, it'll be really fun to watch streamers, I think. Like Fallout 4 streams when the game first came out, people were watching it because they were like, "Oh, I wonder if I should pick this game up or not." But like a huge reason to watch DayZ streamers or H1Z1 streamers is, I guess, if they're playing the survival side of the game, not the like King of the Kill or whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah.
But if you're playing the survival side of H1Z1 or you're playing DayZ or something, like a big reason that you're watching it is because you know that shit can go south at any moment in time. And like a couple of the changes here not only make the game a lot more difficult, but they also mean that if you die, that's a big deal. You could get set back fairly substantially.
Yep.
And that's really, really exciting to me. One of them that we didn't talk about is that bullets and shells now all have a small amount of weight, which varies by caliber. And heavier items such as fusion cores, rockets, and mini nukes can really drag you down. So, like, the issue I ran into with my playthrough of Fallout 4 was I ended up with, like, 70-some-odd fusion cores to the point where I never had to leave my power armor. From the sounds of things, I would not be able to carry that many fusion cores in the survival mode of the game. I could maybe carry one or two, and getting into my power armor would mean, okay, this is only to be used when I seriously mean business and not just because, well, it's a little bit tougher and I'm less likely to die now, sort of thing. And you won't be able to carry, like, the infinite amounts of ammo that I was carrying in my playthrough. So I'm excited for this. It's entirely possible that I'll play it for 2 hours, go, this is hard, and then play something else instead. But I'm still excited for having the option to play it. And, like, keep in mind, this is all just an update. This is free.
Yeah.
Like, it's not part of any DLC that you have to purchase or anything. So I think it's really cool. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, same. I think I'll definitely play at least once or twice, and then if I end up falling out of it, I'll probably watch Shizzle play it.
Falling out. Bah.
I'm sure that Shizzle will play it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure he'll play a lot of it because he played a lot of survival Fallout 4 before when it first came out. So
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in curious how long it's going to take for some modder to put in multiplayer like they did for Skyrim.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be really, really cool.
And then all of a sudden we have Fallout DayZ or whatever.
Yeah. I was also thinking it could be really cool to make like almost like a roguelike version of Fallout, where when you die, like your stuff is lost and you go back to the vault or whatever, and you kind of have to start over.
Oh,
like,
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't give you your save or whatever.
Yeah, like not like you can save the game obviously because the game is way too long to play in one sitting, but like a serious mode, like hardcore character sort of.
Yeah.
Fallout could be pretty cool.
I am intrigued. It's funny. This it's a free update, so it's just like, well, I know I'm gonna play probably the shit out of this, so I'm definitely not gonna buy your DLC now.
I'm still gonna play the DLC for sure.
I'll watch you play it.
All right, fine. I'll probably play it mostly off stream. So, so speaking of Fallout, by which I mean speaking of nuclear disaster, by which I mean speaking of nuclear explosions, by which I mean speaking of, I think they work by converting things into plasma, by which I mean speaking of the sun, by which I mean speaking of things that are extremely hot. What's this super hot game?
Do I even acknowledge these anymore? At some point, 30-something episodes in, I should just roll with it, right? And just say, fuck it. So
at some point, you probably should have figured this out, that this was happening.
Yeah, I was lost, actually. And I'm always lost until the last two, like, anyways. So, yeah, so super hot, man. Have you played it yet?
No, I watched, just before we started this, I watched you play it for 5 seconds, and I saw that you had, like, a sword or something, and there were red people.
So, I was playing katana mode. Basically, it's like ninja mode, right? So here's the way the game works. The world slows down to an absolute crawl, time-wise, when you don't move. So you're inside of this, like, this virtual world or whatever, and you're just basically killing the red guys. Super simple premise, but when you play it, it's just fucking cool. Like, it is as close to a, if there is such thing anywhere, I'd like to know, but it is basically as close to a turn-based or a strategy first-person shooter, I guess.
Interesting.
Because there's some of these levels and some of these encounters that you have to do a lot of juggling. So, like, here's this level I was playing earlier on the stream. So I spawn. There's a guy with a gun to my head. I have to punch him super fast, grab the gun out of the air, and then decide. Because there's two guys coming to my left and a guy on my right that's going to be coming around the corner. So I know this because I've already played this level like 15 times. Do I shoot this guy in the head, which is going to mean I'm going to have to take a moment to actually load the next round, or do I ignore him for a minute because he's a little bit dazed because I did just punch him in the face? Or before I grab the gun out of the air, do I punch him 2 more times and then grab the gun out of the air so that way he's definitely down, and then I can turn around and focus on the other guys? Like, time is moving super slow while you're making these decisions, and then you move, and then everything is plays. You could actually play like a first-person shooter if you were just to, constantly move, right? And there's you can unlock a mod or whatever they call it that would actually unlock that feature for you. Which, by the way, would make the game incredibly fucking difficult. But
it sounds like it.
But yeah, there's so much, like, calculated moves you have to do, and then it's like, yeah, you're it's a strategy game. You're playing a little bit of chess here and there. It's like, a guy is gonna do something here, like he's gonna move here, or he's gonna, what, the shotgun blast, you could dodge it, or he's gonna anticipate your move, so you move that direction, and then you wait till he fires the weapon, then you move back the other direction. And then you're picking up random things like, like, for example, one of the early levels, you're in a bar, right? And the first thing I do is like take the drink that I have in front of me, I chuck it at the dude that's pulling out a gun from underneath the bar. So he drops the gun, I jump over the bar, grab the gun, and then I shoot him in the face. I throw the gun at somebody who's come up behind me who has a gun as well, and knock the gun out of his hand. And then I just sit there and start chucking bottles from off the rack at dudes constantly, just like.
So it's basically like you are John Wick.
Yeah. It's like the Matrix. I mean, I don't know. It is a crazy fun game, and just really different. Like, it's just not like anything else.
It sounds actually really interesting. I will have to look into this some more because it does sound really fun.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the newest hottest thing.
Would you say it's the super hottest thing?
It is yes, I would say it's a super hot everywhere, man. If you go to like the Steam reviews, like there's gonna be at least like a handful of them on the first page that can just say super hot over and over again, because that's the recurring theme that they at the end of every level it repeats super hot over and over again until you go to the next level. It's pretty hilarious, right? And like it's totally like it's a really slick marketing move on their part. You know, like they put it in these. They repeat it over and over again, not necessarily in a way that's annoying, because it's like, well, I could just not watch the replay and skip to the next scene, right? The next level. But the fact that it's always there, you can always hear super at least once, you know, before you go to the next level. Like, it's always there. The name is always beaten into you, so it's repeated constantly. And then you see it everywhere, and it's just fucking everywhere. And it's worth a go. It's definitely worth a go. The price point is a little high at $25. But you can buy it for $18 on Green Man Gaming if you buy it before 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Which, if you're listening to this on YouTube, sorry. It's the 20% off Green Man Gaming thing that they're doing for parts of February or whatever, and you could use that on the game in order to get it, but. Yeah, it's definitely something worth checking out. You can watch me eat for breakfast, dude.
I could.
You could.
Or I might just go to Green Man Gaming right now and buy this.
There you go.
It says save 10%. How do I save 20%?
There's a code.
Oh.
It's probably sticky on the r/superhot subreddit.
Okay. Well, I will look into this.
Reddit.com/r/super hot.
Mm-hmm. This item is not yet available. Why the game isn't out yet? My keyboard right now.
There you go.
Super hot is out now. Hi, r/super hot. You should try super hot. It's the most innovative shooter I've played in years.
And never mind. Yeah, yes.
The game was not delayed.
It's the most innovative shooter. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Okay, I don't see anything on here about a thing.
I will find it and give it to you after the show.
All right, cool. So, speaking of things to do after the show.
Uh-oh.
By which I mean sometime well after the show, because after the show I'm probably going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
By which I mean reasons we're likely to lose a whole lot of sleep and make our significant others very angry with us. By which I mean fucking Cube World. Really? Really, Portal Knights? Really?
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
It's basically a beefed up version of Cube World. Really, I mean, it's highly stylized, so you don't have the kind of voxelized looking characters, but the world is there, and it is like just it looks like Cube World. Like if Cube World was, yeah, it totally does.
Like the characters, I'm watching the trailer on Steam right now. The characters definitely look not cubey.
Correct. Yeah.
But this world is it's Minecraft. It's Cube World. It's that kind of game. And there's the crafting, and there's the like creating your hero in different ways. There's even the same fucking health bars over things' heads. Like this game is someone else out there has played Cube World and went, God damn, I'm really angry that
this
game
would make
just
a good
up
game.
And disappeared. Yeah. This was a good idea.
Game. Oh god.
And here it is. Like I've watched this trailer on mute, and I'm sold. Like,
Yep. Oh
can I
yeah.
play this yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No,
So
can't.
so seeing the combat. The combat looks very similar to Cube World. Like you like see their little dodging, move to side, whatever, and the locking mechanism,
Yeah.
targeting. And then there's, but I'm also curious like if they have like mounts, because that's another thing that made Cube World special, right? Was the fact that you can roll away from somebody and then jump on a hang glider, and because you were one block up, from the next level terrain that was on top of this giant plateau, you were able to get like probably a good 10 meters or so of like a decent amount of speed hang gliding in order to get away. Like just adding that to your mix of things you could do. Like I'm definitely gonna check this out probably over the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to not get my hopes up too much about it because like this isn't the first time there's been a game that's like, oh yeah, it's like Cube World. Because obviously there was Trove as well, and Trove seemed like it had some of the right ideas, but it didn't really work. Like, it just wasn't. It wasn't engaging to me.
Yeah. The combat just wasn't quite there.
Combat wasn't quite there. The game was kind of confusing. I'm hoping that Portal Knights is not going to have that problem. But so far it actually seems really, really promising. So I will probably be picking up this early access in the very near future. Up until March 3rd, it's $12 on Steam. So yeah,
Probably worth. I mean, you can wait for the
hopefully
indie,
worth.
You
I
can
hope
wait
it's
for the
worth.
indie for breakfast. It's probably gonna come out like next Tuesday, Wednesday, if you want, or you could just go watch the trailer and just be sold on it.
You should definitely get that to come out before March 3rd, though, if you can.
Oh, maybe.
Because
March 3rd?
March 3rd is Thursday, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, cool.
Easy.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's by who even is making this? I saw the name just a second ago and now I can't find it. Keen Games.
What?
And published by 505 Games.
Keen Games.
Yeah, developers Keen Games,
it's
publishers
funny.
505 Games.
Which I mean, they don't have a very good track record, but it's just Sacred 3. It's probably a story there, but hey, whatever, man. It took them a couple years to get it right.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Sacred 3.
Same.
Let's look at Sacred 3.
It's funny you
Please
said
send me
Keen.
your
I was thinking
birthday
it's Keen Software House, and it's like, oh god.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. We would have known. It would have been the game heard around the world.
User reviews on Sacred 3 are mostly negative.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's very not very popular at all.
Well, all right.
But I'm still gonna check it out though.
Yeah.
And if it sucks, I'll return it.
Yeah.
Do that.
All right. So speaking of Cube World, by which I mean, speaking of square things, by which I mean, speaking of, so vertical videos.
You could have said two square things.
Oh yeah,
Side
that
by
would've worked.
side.
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked. Yeah,
Oh,
that would have been
man.
pretty good.
Sorry, you get most of them right. Yeah, so this is more of like a discussion topic.
Yeah.
Because you and I,
We apparently have differing opinions on this.
I mean, not really, but I just,
So my
that was a
thought
good discussion.
is, yes, in the vast majority of cases, you should probably take your video in a horizontal fashion, because most of the time, when there's motion, the motion is going to be horizontal because people are not known for their ability to fly.
correct.
So if you're taking a video of someone doing something, they're more likely to move horizontally than they are to move vertically. Cool. I just think, this is my thought, I just think that while we're complaining about vertical video and also you get those stupid black bars on the sides, which is the one that everybody complains about, I've spent some time as a web developer, and I'm fully 100% aware that the video player could just like resize itself so that those bars are not required,
Yeah.
Right? Like, unless you're full screening it, which if you are full screening it, then obviously there's going to be some issues unless you've decided to put your monitors vertically for some reason. But when you're just watching a little thing on YouTube, or like in your Twitter timeline or your Facebook timeline, like Facebook especially, because that's where you see the vast majority of these videos, is someone takes a video on their phone and they upload it and they go, hey, everybody, look, I opened a hat. And you're like, all right, well, that's a weird thing to make a video about. Sure. Shows up in your feed. And sure enough, there's someone opening a hat, but they've done it vertically, so you see these stupid black bars on either side. It's like, why Facebook? The way that Facebook's stupid thing is laid out, it would be so easy.
Perfect.
It would be so easy for them to just say, all right, well, we're just going to make this post be a little bit taller, and now everything's fine. The thing expands to fill out the remaining space that's here. Or even like just put text next to it, or like there's so many different ways that you could organize this that don't result in a whole bunch of black bars on either side.
Yeah.
And that's my sort of rant about this, is we complain about vertical video, but we complain about vertical video most of the time, not because, oh, you didn't hold it horizontally, so you lost sight of this thing. Because most of the time people are actually still quick enough to be able to move their hands and keep track of things. Mm-hmm. It's more just, now this is annoying for me to watch because there's these giant black bars on either side. Clearly, the problem here is that you recorded this vertically. And it would be such an easy problem for Facebook and YouTube to resolve. Yeah. And then no one ever cares ever again. That's my rant about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I mostly agree. I mean, I do. It is... man, God, there's so many different fronts. So
you seemed a little salty on Twitter when I said something about how photographers take pictures vertically when it fits the picture.
Yes, I think that was the thing. Like, why? What would you say something about like photographers taking pictures vertically when it fits perfectly?
When it's the right thing to do for the shot or something like that.
Yeah.
So why don't we apply the same thing to video? Because every once in, like, if you want to take a video of, hey, look, I'm standing at the base of the Eiffel Tower, let's look up. Like, that's actually a good time to do a vertical video.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely situations in every industry where it makes sense, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, like you said, like travel photos. Sure, if it's is it tall, portrait. Gaming, is it a shmup? Yeah, portrait, right? Porn, is it a BJ video? Yeah, portrait. Sure, why not? You know, I mean, like, there's plenty of situations where vertical video would totally make sense. I think the problem is, and really, I think we're gonna have to depend on Facebook to help make this happen, because right now, Snapchat, vertical.
Yeah.
Right. You could do horizontal on Snapchat, but whenever someone does that shit, it's just like, nah, don't even do that. Like Lindsay did it when I first introduced her to Snapchat, started getting her snapping and everything. Like, she started like sending like shit that was horizontal. I was like, nah, don't do that stuff. No one wants to see that stuff. I don't want to turn my phone. Like, I'm going pee, and my right hand is on the important part, the aiming part, and the left hand is on the phone. Right. I don't want to have to sit here and try to do stuff with my left hand. You turn it. Can't do that. Right? And so Snapchat, Periscope, I mean, any kind of live, mobile streaming platform is going to be, or anything that's related to mobile. If it's coming out of mobile or if it's designed for mobile, vertical is going to be the way to go. Period.
Yeah.
Facebook is going to be the one that's gonna basically help people kind of convert and make it okay. You're right. The problem is the black bars. If YouTube would change its format so that you could see the entire, video, if you think about the layout of YouTube, it's the same thing. It has a sidebar, right? Like, just great. Just push the comments down. The comments nobody cares about, and then just put a vertical frame in there. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think the problem might be that 16:9 or 9:16 rather is really tall.
It is really tall,
really tall. If it was like 4:3 or something like that, then that would be much, okay, yeah, I could do that.
Well, the other
16:9 is super fucking tall.
The other thing that's annoying about it, though, is like you're talking about on mobile. Like, even on mobile, a vertical video does not play properly on my phone. Like, if the biggest I can get a vertically recorded video on my, like, if I record the video myself and then play it back on my own player, then it'll be just fine. But if I then post it to Facebook and try to look at it on Facebook, it does not remember. It doesn't realize that this is a vertical video, even though all of that information is embedded in the video file when I upload it already. Facebook doesn't realize that it's a vertically recorded video, so when I hold it vertically, I end up not only getting black bars on either side of it, but also on the top and bottom now, because it's trying to fit it in this tiny little space in the center of it, because it's trying to turn it into a horizontal video. So considering that the by far vast majority of Facebook's traffic at the moment and Facebook's usage is through the mobile app, why don't they just fix it to the way that people use their fucking phones?
They will. They totally will. I'm sure they're probably already delivering video in that fashion on mobile if it's vertical video. I'm certain they are. But when you view it on the web app, it looks dumb. You know, if they were
I
just
don't actually think they are doing it like that on the mobile app right now. I'm gonna see if I can find a vertical video now.
But yeah. So it would take Facebook kind of all like fully just endorsing it, and just when you go to the web client and you watch a vertical video and it doesn't show the black bars on the side, boom, then YouTube would do it. Actually, either one of them would probably lead the way. And the reason why is for distribution, really. If you think about it, when you upload a video, it gets sent through all these different filters to work on all these different devices and everything, right? The most popular ratio is going to be 16:9. Not 9:16, right? It's going to be horizontal widescreen.
Yeah, on the web, yeah.
Yeah. If they were to make it so that it works on every device, even if you were to... Yeah, you would still have to, like, render it twice. Or you have to redesign your player so that it would resize accordingly, which now you have... Oh, my God. I can just imagine just the pain in the ass this must be to do. It's... Did you find a video yet?
I'm searching for one. I was actually having problems getting my Facebook app to even work. So there's that.
Yeah. So it's oh, no, never mind. I'm like, oh, I found one. Nope.
Oh, you're right. It is. I just searched for vertical video, and
Yeah.
you're right. It actually is doing it properly in the app. So that's good, at least.
I think it's going to change. I think in the next couple of years, it's going to change, and it'll be more acceptable to have content that needs to be, or that it's okay to be in vertical would be in vertical. It's funny, like when it's like, yeah, we're gonna talk about the show. I was like, well, I kind of agree with them, so it's not really like a debate or anything.
Well,
but I see the point though.
Yeah, and it's like people aren't going to stop recording videos in vertical format. So the least that these sites could do is make it less of an annoyance for the rest of us, because like the way that you use your phone is vertical. Like if you have an iPhone, everything is always vertical in that. Like you can tilt things on the side sometimes, but usually it's all vertical, and the same goes for Android. So people are just naturally inclined to take pictures vertically. They're naturally inclined to take videos vertically because that's how you hold a phone.
Yep.
So it's just going to have to be at some point for these like little sort of, shitty home movie videos. They're just going to have to be able to get to the point where they can deal with it.
Yeah, and you lose a lot of... I mean, I'm constantly taking video of my kid, and so I see it every day where it's just like, man, if only I could shoot vertical, so that way, not necessarily because I want verticals, because I want that amount of view, right, to squeeze in.
Yeah.
So if I go horizontal, so it's like, here's a shot of my kid, like, dicking around on Play-Doh, right? It's like, okay, cool. And he's, like, singing some songs. Like, oh, that's adorable. I'm going to film it, right? I pull out my phone, and it's like, okay, I can either see his head, right? And then, like, the kitchen counter behind him, or I can turn it vertical, and I can see, all of him sitting there playing. And so that's another issue altogether. That's what I was saying. Is like, how do you tackle this problem? It's like if they were to throw a super wide angle or a wider angle lens on the most popular cameras, or phone cameras that are being used right now, then people would be less inclined to shoot vertical because they'd be able to see everything horizontally.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also a, like, for me at least, my phone is large enough that I don't feel comfortable holding it horizontally in just one hand. So I kind of feel like I have to use both hands when I'm shooting video horizontally. But vertically, I can have it in one hand, hang on to my beer in the other hand. I'm
They should
perfectly
just-
happy.
Yeah, they just make it so that they just fucking make it so that the CMOS or whatever the hell they're using in here to capture just records widescreen, horizontal, no matter which direction you're pointing. Like, give an option. You know, I understand that Apple will never do it. Android would probably do it first because Apple's gonna be like, no, that's people won't get it. You know, but make it so that when I hit a button, boom. Now if I hold it vertically, it's still gonna take horizontal video.
Yeah, that'd be smart too. Might be a limitation on the camera, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely would be. But I still feel like lenses are always going to be aspherical, right? They're going to be round, basically.
Yeah.
So if they just need to, so the chip that they have to capture this stuff, it's going to probably be shaped like the actual, the most amount of space is probably going to be like a 4x3 size, right? 16:9 is only going to use a fraction of the amount of space that the chip uses. That's why if you notice when you switch between video and photo, you get more space with photo because it's only going to take one single picture or a couple pictures. It could use more of its actual chip space, right?
Yeah.
If the next generation of phones has a strong enough processor, there should be no reason why it can't capture at 30 or 60 frames per second in widescreen format on while being held vertically. I don't think there is, anyways.
Yep.
Or you
Well-
can put in your video, I can't film. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I actually see a lot of, like, when I was talking about this on Twitter the other day, I saw a lot of, well, why don't you just do this when you film your videos? Or like, I don't actually want to film vertical videos. Like, I might in some situations, but I don't actually, like, the goal here is not, the reason I brought this up on Twitter the other day wasn't, man, I really wish that I could make vertical videos without people shitting all over me. No, it's not that. It's so that I want to be able to watch the vertical videos that are going to exist regardless without hating myself in the process. Like, I want to have an actual decent viewing experience for these.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my beef.
There you go.
But speaking of beef, I don't actually know what this thing is. I've not opened it yet. But speaking of beef, by which I mean speaking of cow products,
Okay.
by which I mean speaking of Gawker Media, there's an article here on Kotaku that I haven't looked at yet. What is this?
God damn it.
What is
basically what it is, this guy made a game called Brigador, right? Or these guys, I should say. This small indie dev company. And it's $20 early access game. And a lot of people were giving them shit for it being $20. I guess they felt that it was cheaper. This is standard practice, right? You release your game for anything more than $15, you better be ready to answer to the masses, right?
Yeah.
So there's this article is basically it's a response that they put I think in the Steam forums where they broke down. It says we have spent I'm not gonna read the whole thing here, but they said we have spent 5 years making Brigador if you include when we started building the engine. 5 years. Much of that has been working full time, 6 to 7 days a week, 8+ hours a day. Even at a very conservative estimate, that's over 10,000 hours of work per person, and there are 4 of us. They do a Kickstarter, not a publisher, none of that stuff. And then they go on to list things that have taken 5 years to do: get married and have 2 children, earn say $2,000 at U.S. minimum wage, fight World War I, right? Like all these things, failed to qualify for the Olympics twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty comical the amount
Start
of things
drinking too much and gain 20 pounds because of stress from starting a company and building a game for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. There's this all these things where just like they're mapping out everything that they could have done that could have happened in 5 years. This is like when the things John McCain are older than when he was running for president. And it was like a list of all these things that it's like, oh wow, John McCain's older than Golden Gate Bridge. What the fuck? And then it goes on to say, okay, so we're asking for $20, which is, it says about as much as a toilet plunger, a trash can, a Nickelback poster, right? The Point Break remake Blu-ray. So they're trying to point out that here are all these, shitty things that you can get for the same price that they're asking for their game. And so they're basing the amount, they spent 5 years doing this thing. They're asking for this much money because of what that relates to elsewhere. So, what I thought was interesting was, so in terms of like price, like I think it's great. Support indies, totally. Obviously, I do, right? The price point, I get it. Sometimes it's too much. $25 is expensive. $20 is expensive. 15 is like, it seems like a sweet spot right now. It's more expensive than it was 5 years ago. Let me fucking tell you that. There's no more like $1 Xbox Live indie games, anymore. That's gone. Or not for any good ones, anyways. But I think what's interesting here is that I feel like he's saying, in a way, pay. You should pay this much because I deserve it. Not, you should pay us this much because this is what the game is worth. Like if you read this, it feels like, I mean, obviously you're not gonna read it now because that's a lot, right?
Yeah, I've been skimming through it while you've been talking.
And he's saying, but quality, depth, innovation all require time, and projects of the scope demand full-time work. If Brigador is not worth $20 to you, it's fine. By all means, wait till it goes to stale, right? Which is obviously that's what people would do anyways.
Yeah.
He's saying it took a long time to build, and I feel like he's trying to sell everybody on the value of the work that he put into the game, not so much the end product of the game itself.
As I'm reading this, I'm thinking to myself, what this guy needs is a community manager. Because you're completely and totally right. He's gone at this from the angle of, this was a lot of work we put into this, and that's just not something that really resonates with people very well. Mm-mm. Like, okay, sure, yeah, you spent 5 years on this game. How long did people spend on fucking Duke Nukem Forever? And that sucked. Like,
and by his logic, that game should have been like $100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like, I mean, I completely 100% understand this guy's perspective, and like, knowing the amount of work that people rag on Ashran all the time, and with some very good reasons. But I know the people that have worked on that, and they put a lot of fucking work into that. It didn't work out. They made a lot of mistakes with it, absolutely. There's a lot of lessons learned with the way that Ashran came out in World of Warcraft. But they put a lot of work into it, and I can understand when, I understand when people are, like, yelling at me or at one of the other Twitter channels for Warcraft. Like, you guys, you didn't even try with Ashran. It's like, no, actually, these guys put a lot of work into that thing. So I can understand from the perspective of, yes, this developer has put a ton of work into this game. But what they're kind of failing to realize is that to the end user, they don't give a single shit how much time you've spent working on a game if it's not fun. And when you're charging $20 for your indie game, just the way that the market exists, the way that whole scene exists, $20 is kind of expensive for an indie game. It's not the upper end of how much you would pay for an indie game. And we were talking about
Prison
Superhot
Architect
just a minute ago.
Prison Architect and KSP are kind of those are definitely like at the top end. Or at the very high end, I would say.
Yeah, and like Superhot, we were just talking about a minute ago, is like $25.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a game that you're like, no, it's totally worth it. This is a very unique gameplay experience, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't ever say anything about the fucking game. Like, this whole time he's talking about, like, we made it entirely from scratch, has 2 hours of original music. It has, like, he basically throws off a whole bunch of numbers, like over 100 different enemy units, story campaign, free play mode, playable landmass of about 2 square miles, split between 20 maps, blah, 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 blah. And it goes through all these, like, interesting data points.
Yeah.
But at no point does he say, and the game's really fun.
Yeah, like the replayability factor or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
what is the value that I'm getting out of this $20? Well, you're getting a playable area, 2 square miles. I don't care how big the playable area is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rocket League has a playable area of about 5 feet. That's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I never go and I'm like, oh man, you should totally play Rocket League. The playable area is massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I totally feel for this guy. I totally see where he's trying to come from. I just think a better argument would have been, yes, we feel our game is worth $20 because this is fun, this is fun, this is fun, this is innovative, this is really interesting. You haven't experienced this somewhere else before, etc., and not this game is worth $20 because it took us 5 years to make it.
Yeah.
Like I could spend 5 years on a sandwich, it wouldn't be worth $20. If anything, it would be very, very bad by the end of the 5 years.
Yeah, and I mean, it has nothing. I have nothing against this game. Like, I don't actually know Brigador. I haven't looked it up or anything. There's so many indie games to juggle, right? Like, but it's just like, but still, I think that I think you're right. I think the point of this whole thing is, developers, please find a community guy, because this. I think in some cases he's probably rattling a few cages. People are like, yeah, I'll back this guy totally. Like, he worked hard on this game. But it shouldn't ultimately be like that, because while he may be making a stand here, which is great, the next indie dev is going to ask $20. He's not going to be able to make the same argument. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen is people are going to say, it's like, oh, well, maybe you guys should just like stop expecting to expecting that you're going to put all this time into it and then we have to pay for it or whatever. Like, I think that from a community perspective, you're right. Like, this could have totally been done a little bit better, because even I was just like reading this and I was like, what? It's like, okay, where's the part where it said there's like endless replayability and you know, this is something new and exciting and innovative, whatever. Like, it's just like, okay, great, you worked on it for a long time. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like that to the end user. That doesn't
Yeah, click. Like, okay, it took you 5 years. I'm sorry, you're inefficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
Mm-hmm. Although I love that he put like failed to qualify for the Olympics twice, and watch all 262 episodes of 2.5 Men.
Yeah, it is a weird angle. It's almost like he's taking it from the perspective of, and sort of the impression it gives off is, this game is worth $20 because we made the terrible choice to make this game. Mm-hmm. Like, he almost seems upset at himself for having spent this amount of time on the game. And yeah. Again, I understand where that happened, and I don't. Like I said earlier, this guy needs a community manager. I don't actually think he should get a community manager, because from the sounds of things, he probably can't afford to pay anyone else at this particular moment in time. And I would never recommend that a community manager work for free, because it's a very difficult job. But yeah.
I mean, even that, it's like, just hook up with like a PR company. Like, there's a lot of like Evolve. Like, there's a lot of just PR. Small PR companies that have very reasonable prices for like working with indie devs and shit, and they'll take care of that stuff. Like, what was it? I forgot. I got a code for a game recently. And the PR guy was like super fucking cool. Like, he had his whole like spiel he wrote up and everything like that, and it was just like the way he wrote the whole thing up. I was like, this is great. I feel like I could not have gotten the same experience from working with like a developer or with somebody who wasn't in community of some sort, Squadron or something like that. I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna read some of it because it was pretty funny. Here we go. Yeah, Super Galaxy Squadron. That's right. He says, goes on to talk about, okay, so what's the best ship to use? It's a shmup. So we don't play favorites. Okay, that's a lie. All the ships have different stats, play differently based on power, blah, blah, blah. He says, but everyone kind of universally loves Jelly Roll, mostly because it's kind of OP, but also because it's a Jelly Roll. Is there deep lore? Totally, there is a big old space war brewing between two great space races. Are there any cheat codes? Let's see, where does this say? No. He said, oh yeah, is this a MOBA? No. Like, are there any crafting or survival elements? You could go now. How many times does it say Super Galaxy Squadron in this PDF? 12.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the kind of like that's a good style of community management, I think, or PR / whatever. Like, I think it's good to take it from the perspective of, all right, this is the internet. I need to treat the internet like it's the internet, instead of just trying to be like, well, all right, we're really happy and really pleased to announce that blah, 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 blah. Like, the more you use PR speak, the less people pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to get your message across, the best way to do that is to be kind of snarky sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit. Naturally
Yeah.
snarky.
Yeah, I still think one of my favorite blue posts I've ever made, just to talk about how cool I am as a community manager real quick. But one of my favorite blue posts I've ever made was there was somebody I made some post at some point about how like we tend to not get great data from the PTR or beta on PvP balance because obviously people would rather, if they're going to PvP, they would rather do so on live where they're going to get something out of it instead of doing it on a beta or PTR where everything they lose, right? So
Yeah.
like not a lot of people actually participate, so we don't end up getting a lot of actually decent data out of it. And I said something about that, and somebody replied with like, "What's the PTR for?" Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, like 100 question marks. And I said something to the effect of like, it's where we store all of our extra question marks, and I'd appreciate it if you gave those back or something like that. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like, I typed it up and I was like, is this a good idea? And I was like, screw it, whatever. And I just posted that, and that's the sort of thing that makes people like realize, oh yeah, that actually this is actually a human being. This isn't necessarily something that's gone through a whole bunch of like PR approvals or whatever. Like I can actually listen to this guy, and it feels like he's an actual person.
Yeah, an
And
actual person. Yeah, it's a humanizing factor. It's like, a little bit of snarkiness.
Yeah,
No, that's good.
I think it's good. I'm now thinking through posts that I've made that I'm proud of. And because
A little personal Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like because this is 50% of my podcast, I feel like I'm allowed to do that. There's one I did the other day where I say the other day, this was a few months ago now, but it was when we were actually it was a welcome thread for our newest community manager. And I cannot for the life of me remember his name is Brett. I don't remember his actual like blue post name off the top. Ornix. That's right. Ornix.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like the welcome to Ornix thread, and somebody in it was like, I can't believe that your team, which doesn't make content, is wasting time on the forums welcoming new people instead of hiring people to make new content or something like that. Or instead of creating new content. So I just took the I just did like a full-on like Imgur, like I took doesn't create content and then like creating new content and like sort of like made them bigger, and then I took a picture of a cinder kitten and put the look of disapproval across its face, and I just quoted his reply and did a post to link to that Imgur, and I was like, I've managed community today. Just like looking at it, aha, yes, hashtag managed. So anyway, speaking of community management,
Okay.
I guess,
All right.
by which I mean speaking of the community, by which I mean speaking of social media, by which I mean speaking of Twitter, I just wanted to mention that Twitter now has a GIF search in the mobile app, and it's simultaneously amazing and terrible.
Yeah. So this is actually exactly like Facebook Messenger. You basically type in a phrase, and it's going to pull up things that are, related to that. So I just typed in balls, right? And I get Powerball GIF. I get a cat playing with a bunch of balls. I got somebody on some reality competition show yelling, "You got some big balls." Just like a whole lot of. I got a Balchinian in here. It's just it's all it is. And I feel like this is kind of taken away from some of those of us who are skilled in very quickly coming up with a GIF response to something by using good old Safari. I think that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
It's basically GIFs for casuals.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know how they curate this thing either, which is kind of interesting.
Oh God, what'd you type in?
I typed in dick,
Oh God.
and the GIF that comes up is some people on a beach being attacked by someone in a giant dick suit.
Yeah, it is.
And it literally,
What the
like,
fuck?
jizzes all over them. This is
That's amazing.
not okay, Twitter.
Oh my God, I just typed in titties,
Oh.
and I don't know how this is curated either. But here's a bunch of girls in wet shirts jumping up and down. It says them titties underneath it. Wow.
Oh. All right.
That's I figured dick. It's like, yeah, dick, sure. Like dick, you can use dick in a lot of situations, you know. But titties is really only one usage of that. There's
Yeah.
nothing else. But wow, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, does this mean like kids are gonna be? I mean, because
Yeah, exactly.
thinking from like from when I was, you know,
Yeah.
a teenager, and like the Mervin's like lingerie edition brochure or whatever was like, you know, spank material. Like that was that was
yeah.
yeah. This is just like whip out the phone. There it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
What
know.
are you doing? Oh, I'm just on Twitter.
I'm just on Twitter. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Done.
I mean, in fairness, also on Twitter you can like if you follow the right accounts, you get a whole lot of titties anyway. But this is now like something coming directly through the app versus something someone's posting on their actual feed.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's interesting.
I'm glad you brought this up because I did not know I could. Wow.
Yeah. Also, speaking of titties,
Mm-hmm.
by which I mean speaking of most of the characters in Smite, Smite has its PS4 beta active now. And I have to say, so, okay, I used to play a lot of Smite on PC.
Right.
Back in its original beta, I played a lot of Smite on
Yeah.
PC. I kind of stopped at some point. I think it was, like, some new character came out and it was pretty overpowered, so I kind of went, they're not really keeping up with the balance, and I stopped paying. Oh God, why are you tweeting gifs at me now? Oh God, this is not good. This is not a good time. No.
Pay attention to the show.
Now I can't. But yeah, I used to play a lot of Smite on PC. Really, really good game. It's one of those games that I constantly think to myself, why don't I play more Smite? Because it's actually really, really good. And then it's Xbox beta started, and I was like, oh, cool, yeah, sure, I'll give that a try, because I have an Xbox One for some reason. And I say for some reason because I don't think I've actually really played a game on it ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not true. I did play a little bit of Rise, but that was just because I had an Xbox and felt like I should.
Yeah, exactly.
And it came with the Xbox. I was like, all right, I guess I should probably play this game. So I played the Xbox One beta of Smite, and I was like, okay, yeah, this I can see where they're going with this. This is not bad. And I don't know if they've like since made a whole bunch of improvements to the Xbox One version and they've just ported this over to PS4, or if it's just way smoother on PS4, but it actually played really, really well. I'm actually really pleased with how well it plays. Some people in my chat room at the time were talking about how there's this like characters with circles sort of meta for console play, where some characters are just way stronger than others because their abilities are a wide radius instead of having to be like precisely aimed. And I can totally see how that happens. I was playing Guan Yu earlier, and his ultimate on PC is something that you like swing. You're like constantly moving forward, so you like swing your character around left and right with the mouse in a hurry, so that you can continue like swinging your sword at people that you're running past. Because it's like you're on a horse for a short period of time. On the PlayStation, you don't get the option to swing in a hurry, like to change your direction in a hurry. So you do a whole lot of running around in circles and not actually getting anything done. So there's definitely some character balance concerns
Right, that needs to
for the
happen.
console version of the game, just because the inability to quickly and precisely aim with a mouse does change things quite a bit. But it's actually still really fun, and I think I might play some more of it. It's pretty good, and it may entirely turn out that I play it on PS4 for a little bit and then go, yeah, you know what, Smite is a good game. I'm going back to PC where I have all of my like characters unlocked and everything. Because I bought at some point the Ultimate God. You're such a dick. I bought at some point the Ultimate God pack.
So you're loaded. You have it all. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it does seem kind of weird to me that I don't have that on the PS4 version. Because like I wanted to play Anubis and I don't have Anubis on PS4, and that broke my brain because I was like, how do I not have Anubis? Because Anubis is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's my thing about Smite on PS4.
So anyways, back to the show. So real quick about the turning around thing, because that's a common thing on every shooter on the on console versus PC. Is there a 180 turnaround button?
No, I don't think there is. If there is, I don't know where it is or where it would be.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be a quick fix for this issue. Because one of the main draws of Smite is the fact that, like you said, it's quick. Like you're turning and you need precision on a lot of your shots, and that's what makes it fun for me to watch more. I mean, I like playing it, but watching it is very exciting. But if there was a button that just very quickly turned you around on the Xbox or on whatever, then I can see that being probably a good way to compensate for this. I mean, a lot of shooters have a way to very quickly flip your character around, and then that versus changing entire abilities for only a half of these. Oh yeah, Trump's hair is real. How we doing? I guess people are gonna have to like hit play and watch this along with our Twitter feed or something.
Yeah.
To get the timeline, but I think that adding something to correct the issue with mobility would be better than correcting and balancing a small subset or any subset of abilities on characters. But I did get a chance to play Smite on at like GDC last year, I think. They had it set up on the landing and the entrance when you go in on Xbone, and they had like an arena mode or something coming up. But I mean, it felt fine. Like it totally felt fine.
Yeah, the arena mode is actually pretty fun too. Like I feel like it fits the play style a little bit better than the like full on MOBA mode that they have normally. Yeah, Smite still fun, still good game.
Oh yeah,
play Smite, it's good. And now we've run out of things to talk about.
We have, but I'm not running out of gifts to send you.
Oh dear. You see, internet. This is literally why we can't have nice things.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
Oh dear.
Oh, I got you.
What's happening to me now? What's happening?
I think that might be my last one for the night.
I did notice that you tweeted at me the man in a penis suit.
I did. I you mentioned it. I thought just for the show's sake, because people are clearly going to go through and.
What is this?
I don't know.
Why is this on my computer screen?
It's yours now.
I don't want it. No one wants this. No one has ever wanted this.
Yeah. But I think that's it for me. I think that's the last one. I don't think I need any more.
I think I'm going to block you on Twitter now.